Hello everyone, hello my friends. Welcome back to our cozy little space on the internet. Today we're gathered here to talk about yet another lunation, but this one is going to be a really important one. It is the total lunar eclipse, the second of the eclipses of this year that will be happening in the sign of Pisces. What all of that means for you and for the collective, this is what we're going to be discussing in this video, so stick around. So lunar eclipses are really interesting because they're times of the year where there is a really big nudge to transformation. They're like little stepping stones of evolution, points of our journey where we shift, where we evolve, where we become something greater than what we have been before. So this is really interesting because the total lunar eclipse happening in Pisces. Pisces is the sign that is mostly associated to the deep subconscious, to understanding others in a deeper way, to empathy, to being able to see in others yourself and relate to their journey in that really deep and connected way. So this is going to be hinting us already at the themes of this lunar eclipse, because what I'm sensing is this really great homecoming, but in a way that is going to be really helpful for our journey. So the lunar eclipse is going to be happening on the 7th of September, so really soon. And it's going to be at around 6 p.m. here in Portugal. If you're in another location in the world, please convert to your time zone. And it's also going to be happening at 15 degrees, which is the middle point of the degrees in astrology. What does all of this information mean? So like I said, Pisces is associated to the themes of the subconscious, to the themes of dissolving into the great ocean of spirit. And the 15 degrees, it's the middle point of the degrees in astrology, signifying that this moment, this eclipse is going to be a point where we're going to be very cozy, very comfortable, in the transformation process. Usually eclipses are times, if you're familiar with tarot or any other symbolism, that are associated to the Tower card. So they're really key points, shifting points where things get shaken up in order to be destroyed, to be rebuilt back up later. So usually these are times of anxiety, times where we're feeling like things are leaving our lives or entering our lives that are kind of out of control. However, around this time, we might be able to see that those things that are happening are actually for the greatest good and for a purpose, for a reason in our lives. So there is this component of maybe you have something that is happening that is very pivotal in your life. However, you see the bigger picture, you see the reasoning behind it, and you're connected to the whys of it happening. And that brings a lot of comfort because we don't always have this kind of reassurance in our day-to-days, especially when it comes to our emotions. So what technically happens in a lunar eclipse, during a lunar eclipse, speaking astrologically, we have the Earth body standing right between the sun and the moon. And there is this overshadowing of the Earth to the moon, creating an effect of the eclipse, of the total lunar eclipse, where the moon appears to be red or any kind of tone that is associated to the location in the planet Earth that you're in. Spiritually, what the lunar eclipses signify when it comes to this positioning of the planets is there is a highlighting of our emotions that are represented by the moon into our mundane world, into the earth. So our subconscious mind is more clearly manifested into our conscious. So this brings really great transformation, like I was saying in the beginning, and gives us a choice point. So this may manifest in your reality as a situation that has been very familiar to you, and that's been repeating again and again. There's specifically going to be a cycle highlighted, and you're going to be presented with a choice point. Whether you choose to stick to the same response or not is what's going to represent your evolution or less of an evolution in terms of this eclipse. It's going to be happening in the sign of Pisces, and especially the moon is kind of cozy in the sign of Pisces, and it's really dreamy and sensitive. Moon in Pisces is a moon that is very associated to flowing through life, to going with the flow. It's not really associated to wanting to reach something at all costs, for example, or be seen in a specific way. It is more the soft, like I said, in the greater ocean, in the greater subconscious. And so Pisces moon can be really easygoing and can be really natural in a way. But Pisces moon can also be very sensitive and a little bit passive, which is the negative aspects of this lunation that can be associated with not being able to take charge of your own life, not being able to actually do the actions that are needed in order to evolve and in order to change. So some of the things that you need to be paying attention around this time is to, associated with the qualities of Pisces moon, is to not allow yourself to be passive, not allow yourself to be a little bit carried through life in an excessive way. Having some kind of goal, some kind of direction is going to be really helpful. So what kind of goal and direction would you need to be setting for yourself? This has to do with the aspects that the moon is going to be making. As all eclipses, this is a sort of full moon, and so the Pisces moon is going to be directly opposing the Virgo sun that we are in at the moment. And so the first big theme has to do with this aspect of the lunation. The first big theme is going to be around really being able to set boundaries. Like I said, Pisces is associated to passivity and to not really standing up for themselves as a moon sign. And so one of the big themes that we're going to be working through this lunation is going to be the quality of setting boundaries. Tension between the sensitivity, passivity, and the sort of easygoingness of the Pisces moon and the practicality of the Virgo sun. So what you may notice in your own life is this tension between your boundary setting, your specific goals for your day, how you accommodate your being and yourself in your day, and the practical lifestyle. So maybe you live a lifestyle or you participate in activities or involved in a job situation that may not be specifically what you may not be providing specifically what you need in terms of taking care of your body and taking care of yourself and setting boundaries. And so around this time, this may be highlighted. If you are working a job that is not in accordance to the needs that you have, maybe you need more alone time, more silence, or quite the opposite, maybe you prefer a more exciting lifestyle and your job is not providing for that. You may notice that surfaces. And what we're really being called with this aspect of the moon is to see where in our lives how we can accommodate ourselves in our own lives. I know that it's really difficult to live a human experience where we have a job, we have expectations, and we have certain responsibilities that we need to carry. And a lot of the times we forget that we're actually humans and that we have a body that needs to be taken care of. We need to eat well, to work out, to sleep enough, and to have hobbies in order to feel fulfilled in our journey. And so what you may notice is that you may try to fit in your day-to-day little moments that make you feel more comfortable, more at ease, more yourself, and really trying to cater your day-to-day into what you actually need versus what is expected of you. And so creating boundaries around your time, around your space, around your self-care, those things will really help you transform your life at this time. These are going to be the pivotal connection points, weaving points that are going to help you to construct the life that you really want going forward. The moon is also going to be opposing Mercury and Virgo. Mercury in Virgo is very expressive, very interested in communicating with detail, and this opposition between the moon and Pisces might make it a little bit more difficult for you to communicate your emotions. So I would be mindful around this week and getting closer to the eclipse around themes of sharing information, talking to people, communicating in close relationships, all of those key moments. I would be really mindful around really making sure that you are understanding what the other person is saying, and also that the other person is understanding what you're saying, because this may bring an energy sort of like a Mercury retrograde in a way, where there is failure in communication, where maybe you are making plans and they're not really happening the way that they're supposed to because the other person really didn't get the memo. So really be mindful of that. And there is two other aspects that I really want to talk about before we get into the advice with our tarot cards, which is the moon in Pisces is going to be conjunct the North Node. Now, the North Node is in Pisces at this time, and the North Node belongs to the moon. It's a moon quality. So the North Node in Pisces conjuncting the moon in Pisces. So like I said, eclipses are around pivotal times of transformation and evolution. And the North Node is associated to a life's purpose, to where we're going to where we're directed in life. It is essentially the point where we are born into this earth with a purpose, with a direction point, and that is the North Node. So both of them being in Pisces and being conjunct, it is a really harmonious aspect. It is a time where all of those little changes, all of those accommodations to our lifestyle that we're going to be making space for ourselves, are actually bringing us closer to being able to practice our life's purpose and to be able to be in alignment with that. So this is really beautiful. It is really important, and it highlights the importance of giving us that kind of time and that kind of space. What I will encourage you again to do around this lunation is, if you have any sort of hobby or practice that you really want to include in your life. I know for myself, I'm really starting to meditate every day. I don't know where exactly that is going to bring me, what is the purpose of it, or if it's going to help me in any specific way. However, I intuitively feel that I need to start meditating every day. So I will be incorporating that going forward, and of course, let you know how that goes in my journey. So I encourage you to do the same. If you feel like intuitively you feel like you need to be incorporating something in your day-to-day, an activity, a hobby, a practice, it is really encouraged for you to do so, because it is most likely going to be something that is going to be helping you. Another theme that is associated with this conjunction is the really heightened intuition. This is really important, and notice where your intuition is calling you to. So your intuition may feel like a little voice in your head telling you to say something, confirmation, telling you to say something, telling you to go to a place, to practice a specific activity. It may appear as all sorts of signs and synchronicities. Your intuition is really all over the world, and it can manifest in the multitude of ways. And so pay attention to your intuition and to what is calling you. And the last aspect that I will be talking about this lunar eclipse in Pisces is going to be the moon in Pisces trining Jupiter in Cancer. Now, Jupiter in Cancer brings the themes of expansion, growth, and also transformation in the themes of our home, of our close relationships, of our relationships with the people who took care of us in our primary years. And so the relationships with those people and the relationship with our home and the people that we're closest to is going to be really expanding. There's this potential of expansion and growth in that area. associated to the transformations that we're going to be experiencing through the intuitive moon of Pisces. And so this is a harmonious aspect, but it's also an opportunity aspect. You will be able to harness the power of this aspect if you put in the effort into it, but it's not directly going to be manifesting in your life. This is why I also chose to speak about it last. But there is this really big potential of you healing your relationships with your family members, with your primary caregivers, with people that you're currently in a living situation with, or people that you spend really a lot of time with surrounding your home. Because this lunation may highlight how those people have been influencing your journey and why they've had to play a certain role in your journey. Sometimes we don't understand why our parents act a certain way, or why they have given us the amount of attention that they have given us or not, until we get to the point where we're actually in the same situation that they were when they were in that dynamic with us. And so this eclipse may bring this kind of perspective of, oh, now I understand. Now I see why things were said, were done a certain way and not otherwise, because now I'm in the same situation and I see how I would definitely lean towards that side if I was to have kids, to have a partner, to have a home in a certain location. So there's a lot of potentiality for growth, a lot of transformation, but all of it is going to be very cozy, like I said in the beginning, very soothing, and really for a greater purpose. It's not going to be something that is going to shock you in a really horrible way. So it may be shocking, surprising, but it's going to be a breath out. It's going to be a, oh, okay, now I get it. Now I understand. This is really for a reason. This is going to be the Pisces lunar eclipse for you. So let's get into the cards and see what the cards have to tell us about this lunation. What is the advice? What should we expect? What to pay attention to? I will shuffle my cards here and give us any last themes, any last advice about the moon in Pisces. A moment of breath, a moment of exhale, a moment of really, I'm getting this moment of opening a champagne bottle in my mind, in my mind's eye, and of course the Justice comes out. Okay. This is actually really appropriate. I'm getting this vision of a champagne bottle opening, and there is this release of energy. There's this release of energetic qualities and emotions and things that we've really suppressed deep down. And that is going to be the big relief, the big sigh, the big exhale that we're going to be experiencing around this time, because there's a lot of things that we bottle up. And like I was saying with this, when I was speaking about the aspects, we as individuals tend to suppress ourselves in order to fit into the world. Specifically, if you're a sensitive person and if you have a different way of thinking than most humans, you really tend to suppressing your emotions. You tend to not being yourself around people. And so this is going to be a time where all of that is going to kind of go down the drain, be carried by the river of life, and release. So 2 cards wanted to come out and no other cards are coming out. So I'm just going to, okay, the Wheel of Fortune at the bottom of the deck. So the Justice came out, and the Hanged Man, and the Wheel of Fortune at the bottom of the deck. If you notice, all of these cards are major arcana cards, and so this is really exciting because, as you know, major arcana, or if you don't know, they're associated to really big life moments, to moments where they're basically archetypes. They're not associated to a day-to-day activity. They're associated to a big theme in our lives. And all of the three cards that I'm seeing here are major arcana. So this is really interesting because the moon is going to be conjuncting the north node, which is the purpose, which is the direction in life. And it's really interesting that all of the cards are associated to this big life changes. So what I'm getting here is that the moon in a Pisces is going to be a time of really big transformation that is going to be propelling us towards our purpose, with the Wheel of Fortune at the bottom of the deck signifying this changing of seasons that we're going through being for a reason. There is a purpose behind it, and it's really timed. It's really something that is necessary, and it's supposed to be going on that way. So the advice I have here with the Justice and the Hanged Man. So justice is about a really deep truth being revealed, something that is really core, something that is really the truth. You can't really hide the truth. The truth always shows herself. She is always there, and she will always be revealed. And so the Justice speaks to me here about being honest with yourself around this time. What is actually what you want to be doing? How is your personality really like? What are the things that you enjoy doing? What are the activities, the practices? What is your essence like? What do you really actually want to be doing as a job? Do you want to go out with this person that is inviting you, or you don't? So justice is about this quality of really being honest, really understanding what your qualities are, what you may not have as a quality, and sitting with that truth and sitting in that truth and going through life knowing that about yourself. So for instance, if you're really sensitive, if you're somebody who is not interested in going out and partying and loud environments and living in the city, how can you understand that and accept that and maybe move towns, or decide to go out with a different friend group, or change the activities that you have in your day-to-day in order to accommodate that need of yours to want some silence? So what are the deep truths that you know about yourself and that you've been suppressing all along in order to fit in the narrative of other people? And then we have the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man here encourages us to rest, to meditate, and to sit in silence with our thoughts and with this truth. Sometimes when a really deep truth is revealed about ourselves, a truth that could potentially, I wouldn't say isolate us, but more like make us see that we're not quite as similar as people around us, highlight the differences versus the similarities that we have with the people around us. When we reveal that kind of truth, we tend to push it down. Like I said, like, forget about it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to witness this about myself, because this means that I'm different, and this means that I will somehow be excluded from the collective. But what we're encouraged with, and what you're encouraged with, this lunation with the Hanged Man here, is to sit with that truth and allow it to bring you spiritual clarity about what's coming next, about what you want to be actually doing. And some words of encouragement here. It's really difficult to do that because, like I said, we tend to feel excluded, we tend to feel different. However, when we sit in our truth, and if you allow yourself to sit with your truth and to meditate on it, this is when you are going to be of most help to others. Because one of the purposes of our life, and things that have to do with north nodes and Pisces and all of that, is to help others, is to also somehow make the world a better place. And you will never be able to do so if you are depleted, if you are tired, if you feel unauthentic. And it is a necessity. It is a necessity to be yourself in order to feel good about yourself, and also in order to help others and to bring into this world the qualities that it needs in order to be a better place. And so with that, my friends, I will leave you with this cozy lunation. I hope that you enjoy your eclipse. I hope that you journal about all of the emotions coming up, all of the truths being revealed, and I will catch you on my next video. Thank you so much.